All right, what we're going to go over here are our basic bunt coverages. Uh, when we talk about basic bunt coverages, almost every player on the field has the same job in every bunt situation. Uh, the primary places where those don't happen, or the primary positions, are the shortstop could go to cover a different base, and center fielder may go cover to second. But primarily, um, every player on the field does the same thing in bunt situation. So I put the put the softball kind of out front, like where a ball would be bunted. All right. So if we start from the basic premise, the first baseman, the pitcher, and the third baseman, their job is all to crash, to charge the bunt. Thinking primarily in this situation, we have nobody on, nobody out, with the play at first base, and the second baseman always covers first. So first pitcher, third crash, second baseman covers first base. In theory, one of these players will field the ball and throw it to second. In this scenario, our shortstop's job is to cover second base. In terms of outfield, your outfielders, you all have backup responsibilities. One of the major responsibilities, probably the most important, is the right fielder. The right fielder's job is to come back up second base, or I'm sorry, first base. And the reason for that is if you see, the ball gets fielded and thrown towards second, we want them lining up with, if it misses the second baseman at first, it was up there right there to get it. And oftentimes what can happen is a runner will come through and they may turn. And once they turn, we can get that runner out. So the right fielder can field the ball and run or throw back to first base, and we can tag them. So it's a very important job to have the right fielder there. Right fielder always backs up first base. Center fielder will always come back up second, and the left fielder will always be responsible to come back up third. Sometimes it will be right here, but most of the time it will be in this direction. So these are the primary spots and positions that in bunt formation. First pitcher and third crash, second base covers first, shortstop will deal with that, right fielder backs up first, center fielder backs up second, left fielder backs up third. Those are our situations. Let's bring the softball back to position. So if there is nobody on, nobody out, this is our rotation. Now I'm only going to move our shortstop back to position and our second baseman back to position. All right, and now we're going to put a runner on first base. This is where things can start to rotate a little bit. Outfielders all stay the same. First, third, pitcher all crash. Second baseman, bunt gets laid down. Second baseman goes to cover first while the runner on first advances. Shortstop, once again, in this situation, will cover second. One of these three, field the ball, throw it to first for the out. Now, there's nobody on third right now. Well, if the pitcher fields the ball, it's the responsibility of the third baseman to rotate back to third to cover third, so that this runner, it's right here, this runner doesn't round the base and with nobody at third ends up there. So if pitcher fields it, third baseman covers third. If the third baseman fields it, pitcher's job is to rotate back and cover. If they both forget, well, by golly, we have the left fielder right here who can step in should that player try to advance to third. All right. So that's the situation. Runner on first, and they want to bunt. Let's move the runner back to first. All right. Let's say we have runners on first and second. Okay. Shortstop back to normal position. Second baseman back to normal position. All right. Now, this is where things, rotations switch a little bit for shortstop and center fielder. Everybody else stays the same. Square to bunt. Third crashes, pitcher crashes, first crashes. Right fielder backs up first. Center fielder is gonna come here. Left fielder backs up. So what happens is second baseman once again covers first. We're hoping to make an out here. Shortstop though, their job is to cover third base. While this runner, runner on second. While this runner advances. That leaves us an empty second base, and that's where the center fielder comes in, and their responsibility is to cover second base. Every base is covered here. For the most part, the bunt is going to come. Let's just say it comes out here. The play is to first base, right? Now, when runners are on base, when a play gets made, the second baseman, let's say the second baseman catches the ball, we make the out at first, and this runner has advanced to third, and they will turn. Every time the second baseman catches that ball first, they are to sprint to the runner, right? We don't want that runner to continue advancing. We sprint at them. And if we get here and nothing really happens, we hand the ball to the pitcher, right? But play gets made at first base, second baseman makes the out, and then if there's a runner here, they're going to sprint at the runner at second, or they're going to sprint at the runner at third. That's an important responsibility of the second baseman. All right, so the only unique opportunity, most of the time we won't try and make a play at third base. Where's that runner? Let's put the runner back here. Runner's at first and second. Put the softball back. The only time we will really ever try and make a play at a different base is in this situation, because there is a force out at third base. So if the bunt is really hard to the third baseman, right, she can turn and flip to the shortstop who's covering third, and you get the lead runner. That's not necessarily true if there's not a runner on first, right? If there's not a runner on first, then this isn't a force play. So even a hard bunt back to the third, they can turn it, but now it's a tag play. So we got to be really accurate. I want you thinking most of the time we're going first, unless it's a really bad bunt, comes really hard to the third baseman, then we can make a play at third. All right, let's put that runner back on. Okay, first, second, third. Okay, cool. All right, let's remove and go just straight runner on second base. Runner back to second. Oops, that's a softball. Second. Runner back to second. All right, once again, these are all our positions. Bunt is made, someone fields, short covers third, second base covers first. We make the out at first. This runner, where's the runner? The runner comes, rounds. Once the out is made at first, second baseman charges, sprints at that runner to keep him on third. All right. These are our basic bunt positions. We don't oftentimes, oops, sorry about that. We don't oftentimes, you won't often encounter a bunt with the bases loaded, because if you think about it, if you put a runner on third and a runner on first, and move the ball back, there's a force out at home. So they bunt the ball right here. You just flip it to the catcher, they're out. All right. So you won't often have that. What you will sometimes have is a runner. Oops, not runner on first base. I'm sorry. You will have a runners on second and third, and you may have a bunt in this situation. This situation, they are looking to have the bunt go. We still want to make the out at first, but this runner on third is waiting for this player, one of these players, to throw it, and they're probably going to break home. So we will work on this in a little different scenario. This isn't a basic formation, but for all intents and purposes, when they square to bunt, these are your roles. First, pitcher, third, crash hard, right field backs up first base, center fielder comes up, backs up second base or takes second base, left fielder backs up third, second covers first, shortstop, it depends. And we all have to work really hard. We have to move really fast. If you're an outfielder, There is one important thing I want you to know. I'm not going to move center field back. I'll just go with right field. When a player squares to bunt as a right fielder, you can start moving that way, but you want to make sure the hitter doesn't pull back and swing, because if you crash this way when they first show and they pull back, and they can hit just an easy fly ball, boom, which would have normally been an out, but you're not there, right? So your outfielders, you have to hustle to your backup, but you have to wait to make sure that hitter is actually bunting. If they're not bunting, you need to stay at your position. Once it's confirmed that they are bunting, then you have to run your tail off to get to your backup position. Those are our basic bunt coverages.